One health was a naturally occurring phenomenon in ancient days. I would like to illustrate this with a short story. There lived a shepherd called Idekata Siddhar in the Kolli hills of Tamil Nadu, a southern state in India. A Siddhar himself, he was able to foresee a drought in his locality and started feeding his goat only with calotropis leaves. Having consumed those leaves, goats developed severe itching and started scratching on the walls of the hut. Anticipating this, the wise man had already smeared the wall with an amalgamation of mud and kodo millets. When the goats rubbed themselves against the wall, the husk got removed and the grains were collected and stored. Both the calotropis and kodo millets are drought resistant. Finally, when the monsoon failed as predicted, the shepherd and the goat survived competently. Acharya Charaka says, Purusho ayam loka samitaha, yavantaha purushe tavanto loke. This means that an individual is an epitome of the universe. All the materials of the universe are present in the individual, and all those present in the individual are also contained in the universe. One such material is Panchamahabhutas. So, we need to maintain the balance of Panchamahabhutas in our body through diet and regimen, which will now be enlightened to us by Professor Swaminathan sir.
In Charaka Sharira Sthanam, the first chapter, it is quoted that Khatayas Chetana Sashtam, Dhatava Purusha Smritaham, Chetana Dhaturapyekaham, Smritah Purusha Sapnakaham. That means the conglomeration of the Pancha Mahabhutas and with the Chetana Vastu, that is Atma, make up the physical entity of a person. So that is to say that the Pancha Mahabhutas are the one to involve in the digestive process, because the food whatever we consume are made up of Pancha Mahabhutas only. And it is said that Pancha Bhutatmake Dehe Ahara Pancha Bhautikaha Vipakvam Panchadha Samyak Swan Gunan Abhivardhayet. That means we eat many varieties of food items in day-to-day life. The material which is very predominant in Prithvi, that is in the earth material, will increase the heaviness of the body. The heaviness of the body is required for humans because the bones require the strength of the heaviness in order to perform its own activities. Similarly, items which are very rich in Agneya Mahabhutam, for example, you take pepper. Pepper, when we consume in a required quantity, that supplies the Agneyam of the Shariram, which is required for the performance of the digestion. And all the metabolic process, materials, for example, you take millets, or you take the badam or pista like materials, like they are very predominant in Vayu and Akasham. Vata, Pitta and Kapha perform their natural functions with the help of the Pancha Mahabhutas existing in the food substances. These are the ways and means by which we make use of the Pancha Mahabhutas that are existing in the world to supply the required quantum of the Mahabhutas to perform the Vata, Pitta and Kapha in a normal way. When we do these things in excess, a little excess, that will land up with the problems in the form of diseases.
As heard so far, this imbalance in Panchamahabhuta is caused by unhealthy lifestyle, which may contribute to global disease burden. We are now witnessing globally the greedy eating pattern combined with affluent diet. This increased demand for food can have a high environmental cost. Example, water stress, land use, loss of biodiversity, increase in greenhouse gas emissions, etc. Let us hear from Dr. Rekha about ethics in eating food.
And the concept of Dashavida Papakarma, Himsa, that is violence towards creatures, were considered as one of the most dreadful sinful act. But we also have references for meat consumption, and meat soups were advocated according to the seasonal regimens. So here Acharya Chakrapani defends this by saying like this: if animal meat is the only source for the restoration of health, then animals can be sacrificed. So animals were also sacrificed not to satisfy a greed of the person but for the health needs. Secondly, in the concept of epidemics, Acharya Charaka considers adharma, that is unethical acts, as one of the foremost reason for the epidemic outbreaks. And this adharma is interrelated with the lobha, that is greediness of individuals. Here, I would like to give an example. Nowadays, people are going against the laws of nature, and they are trying to make the vegetables and fruits available throughout the year. That is, they are going against the concept of seasonal fruits cultivation. So, in other words, these seasonal fruits, seasonal regimens, all were mentioned only for the sustainability of the environment. In the four pursuits of life, dharma, artha, kama, moksha, dharma is placed first even before artha, that is, even wealth has to be earned through ethical ways.
According to Ayurveda, there are 6 seasons. The 12 months in a year are divided into 6 seasons of 2-month duration each. Food and regimen to be followed during these seasons are called Ritucharya. Here comes an insight into Ritucharya from Dr. Harini Ramya.
The main theme of Ritucharya is to make people aware of the methods to live in accordance with the environment. With the change in the season, we see a lot of change in the biolife around us, such as flowering in spring, leaf shedding in autumn, hibernation of many animals with the coming of winter, and so on. As the human being is also a part of the same ecology, our body is greatly influenced by the external environment. Resorting to Ritucharya will promote homeostasis and help to maintain the balance within the body and the external environment as well. Let me quote an example. Summer season is prevalent with intense heat and unhealthy wind. The river bodies dry and the plant appear lifeless. The predominant Mahabhutas in this season are Agni and Vayu. The strength of the person becomes less and the metabolism is slowed down. So, foods which are light to digest, sweet, unctuous, cold, and more of liquid have to be taken. Drinking plenty of water and other liquids such as buttermilk, meat soups, mango juice, other fruit juices, and curd churned with pepper has to be practiced. Staying in cool places, wearing light garments, sleeping during daytime are advised. Excessive exercises and hard work have to be avoided. Too much indulgence in sex and alcoholic preparations are prohibited.
Various Panchakarma procedures performed in hospitals, clinics, wellness centers, etc. are generating huge biomedical waste. Reduce, recycle, and reuse should be implemented judiciously as much as possible. Ayurveda has been more instrumental in treating zoonotic diseases, endemic, epidemic, or pandemic like chikungunya, swine flu, dengue, and the recent COVID-19. COVID-19 pandemic was one of the most devastating situations in the history of mankind. The world has witnessed the key role of Ayush system of medicine in managing it. Despite there were more challenges faced by an Ayush practitioner. Standalone Ayurvedic medicine were not allowed to prescribe. Ayurvedic medicines were allowed to give as an adjunct to contemporary Western medicine in mild to moderate cases only. Challenge number 2 is research. Ayurvedic practitioners are often confronted with the question, do you have research papers? Recently, Biotechnology Department of IIT Madras conducted a 6 days of seminar and workshop on the topic Technological Interventions to Standardize the Indigenous System of Medicine. The entire seminar was on how to cultivate plant cells or metabolites on large scale using various technologies like bioreactors. For example, Gugulu or Comifera mucul has hundreds of molecules in it, but the most potent molecule like guglusterone alone is isolated and produced in large scale. Curcumin, plumbagin, vitaferin A, and vitanone are some of the popular molecules used for such cultivation. So, how is it Ayurveda anyway? Current research methodologies which are suitable to contemporary Western medicine are not applicable to the principles and concepts of Ayurveda. Randomized control trial, which is considered to be superior in research methodology, is not often suitable to Ayurvedic research. Let us ask Dr. Meera to throw some light on it.
RCT cannot, as an Ayurveda doctor or even an allopathic doctor will tell that RCT cannot be the golden yardstick, because during COVID, when we had attended conferences, we had seen even allopaths from foreign countries, from the Western countries, submit their research studies based on phenotypes and genotypes. Go into the internet and search. There are many papers which tell how phenotype 1, phenotype 2, phenotype 3 respond differently to COVID. So genotype 1, genotype 2, genotype 3 respond differently to COVID. So when they respond itself differently, when people with different background and races respond differently to COVID, the medicines will also have to be, cannot be put through an RCT trial. So that's what Ayurveda has also been speaking, and the modern scientific world has also come to terms and it has also started doing such works. Ayurveda cannot, we cannot blindly give Pitta Prakriti patient with lots of Malla Sindoor during COVID times. We have to check the dosham and then only give the Anupanam. The Anupanam will change with respect to every patient, because it has been documented for more than 5,000 years. This genotype, this phenotype responds differently to different medicines. So that has to be had in mind, and on humanitarian basis, our work should only be done not based on RCT.
Current research methodology reminds us the famous story of a fox and a stork. The fox invited the stork for dinner and served him soup in a plate, which was not suitable to the stork. In retaliation, the stork invited the fox for dinner and served him soup in a jug, which was not convenient to the fox. Neither the soup is served nor the purpose of research. Ayurvedic scientists should wake up to this fact and should work to enhance the core competency of Ayurveda without compromising its fundamental principles. This will not only serve the mankind but also other living beings and the environment as a whole.